What if I told you peace doesn't vanish in an instant? It doesn't leave with a scream, not with chaos, but with familiar smiles and prolonged silence. It's not loud betrayal. It's slow erosion, disguised as harmless routine. Peace doesn't disappear in one moment. It fades quietly, not with explosions, but with routine conversations, forced smiles, and favors wrapped in friendship. You're not tired because you're weak. You're tired because you keep giving away parts of yourself to people who never give anything back. No war, no wounds, just slow, silent theft. And the thieves, they don't wear masks. They sit beside you. They text you daily. They live in your world. They are the ones you were taught to accommodate, to comfort, to save. But here's what no one teaches. You don't owe anyone access to your mind. And access is everything. Every message you answer out of guilt. Every call that drains your energy. Every conversation that leaves you doubting yourself. These are weapons. Polite, quiet, deadly. You expect enemies to be loud, obvious, aggressive. But the most dangerous ones, they're calm, familiar, wrapped in shared memories and false concern. You'll know them by how you feel after they leave, empty, confused, shrinking. There are 6 types of these people. They aren't here to destroy you. They're here to distract you. And distraction is slow death. You think you're being patient. You're not. You're bleeding. This isn't about becoming cold. This is about becoming clean. Stop managing others' comfort. Start reclaiming your power. Cut them off. No apologies. No explanations. No ceremony. Peace isn't granted, it's guarded. And the moment you stop people-pleasing, you stop walking into your own freedom. Comment this now. I cut quietly. I rise alone. If that makes them uncomfortable, then it's working. You weren't born to explain. You were born to observe, to endure, and when necessary, to walk away without flinching. This is where emotion ends, and evolution begins. Not kindness, but clarity. Not pleasing, but dominating your own mind. One cut, one ghost, one silence at a time. This is Stoicism philosophy daily, and your ascension begins now. Let's start with the first type, the guilt trapper. They won't demand. They'll imply. After all I've done for you, you remember the first type, right? The ones who weaponize guilt to make you stay when your soul already wants to walk away. Now, let's look closer. Number 1, the guilt trapper. I just thought you'd be there. They rarely ask directly. That's the trap. They don't request, they imply. They wear disappointment like perfume, subtle, lingering, hard to ignore. Before you know it, you're saying yes to things that drain you, to people who don't even see you, or just to avoid the sting of their silence. They've mastered a more powerful form of control than anger, emotional debt. And here's the rule no one ever taught you. You owe nothing to people who help, just to control you. True loyalty isn't leverage, it's a gift, given freely without keeping score. The guilt trapper isn't always cruel. Sometimes they're friends, sometimes they're family. But don't mistake it, they don't love you, they love your obedience. And that obedience is the first thing you must burn if you want to become powerful. Stop explaining, stop apologizing, stop picking up the guilt they lay at your feet. This is your silence. Guard it. Comment this now. No one owns my guilt. I cut the leash. Let the trap snap shut. I won't be in it. Number 2, the subtle competitor. They smile when you win, but only with their mouth. Want the truth? Watch their eyes. These are the people who treat your success like a threat disguised as a compliment. Wow, must be nice. Your lucky things always go your way. They clap, but underneath, they're counting your steps, planning to outpace you. They don't attack you. They mimic you. They study you. Then they slowly try to erase your edge by copying your every move. While quietly undermining your name, you'll feel it, a tension in your wins, a chill in their praise, a silence during your spotlight moments. What they hate the most, your growth without their permission. And when they realize they can't control your momentum, they'll try to poison it. But you don't rise by shrinking. You rise by making peace with their discomfort. Because power doesn't compete. Power just is. Let them chase. Let them copy. Let them boil in private envy. You don't need to prove your worth. You just need to protect your energy. Comment this now. I don't compete. I dominate in silence. Smile less. Watch more. Let them keep guessing. We exposed the subtle competitor, those who secretly envy your growth. But now we meet someone far more draining. They don't compete. They cling, quietly, persistently. #3. The emotional leech. They don't growl. They don't roar. They don't confront. They sigh. They vent. They lean, so gently that you mistake the pressure for trust. But in truth, it's dependency in disguise. At first, it feels harmless. You listen. You care. You think, I'm being a good friend. But with time, a pattern emerges. Every conversation turns into a confession. Every message starts with a crisis, and every solution you offer, ignored, rejected, brushed aside, because they don't want answers. They want attachment. Misery is their identity, and your attention is the mirror that reflects it. You think you're helping, but you're actually anchoring yourself to a sinking ship. The leech doesn't just drain your time. They cloud your mind, disrupt your emotional balance, and deplete your spiritual bandwidth. You leave the conversation heavier than you entered. They feed on sympathy. They grow stronger from your reactions. The more you give, the weaker you become. But here's the truth. They only exist where they're allowed. Your kindness is not the problem. Your lack of boundaries is. Understand this clearly. You're not obligated to be anyone's emotional landfill. You were not built to carry wounds that aren't yours. Some people bleed intentionally, not to heal, but to keep you company in their suffering. They reject growth because growing means letting go of the only identity they've ever known, the victim. And the moment you stop feeding that identity, you're no longer a friend. You're an enemy. You'll hear it in their tone. You've changed. You don't care anymore. But that's not truth. That's withdrawal. They never connected with you. They connected with your supply. And here's the rule. You don't owe your peace to fix someone else's chaos. Real strength is knowing when to listen and when to leave. Compassion without boundaries becomes self-destruction. Silence is your weapon. Distance is your armor. Let them talk. Let them spiral. Let them call you cold. Because cold is calm. Cold is clarity. Cold is control. That's what they fear most. Your refusal to play the emotional hostage. And when they realize they can't feed on you anymore, they will. When you stop feeding the emotional leech, something magical happens. They detach on their own. Which leads us to a greater truth. You don't have to force anyone out of your life. You just have to reclaim your space. Because all leeches eventually leave in search of softer skin. So let them go. You are not the cure. You are not the savior. You are not their emotional infrastructure. You are your own foundation. And anything that shakes that foundation must be removed. Comment this now. I protect my energy like currency. Not everyone earns it. Say it again. Not for them, but for the version of you that still believes empathy means overexposure. Let go of that illusion. Your calm is sacred. Your mind is sovereign. You don't need to yell. You don't need to explain. You don't even need to block. Just disengage. Let the silence carry your decision. This is psychological detachment. This is strategic peace. This is the beginning of mental domination. Next, number 4. The passive controller. Control doesn't always show up with rules. Sometimes it comes with a smile. The passive controller doesn't bark commands. They gently manipulate your choices. Are you sure you want to do that? That's just not like you. I'm only looking out for you. And gradually, without realizing it, you begin adjusting your behavior. Not because you're wrong, but to avoid the subtle judgment in their voice. You don't feel free. You feel watched. These are the ones who never tell you what to do. They just make you question your instincts. It's not domination. It's influence disguised as care. And that's what makes it more dangerous, because it creates self-doubt. Every decision becomes a mental chess match. You hesitate, you second guess, you wonder, am I being selfish? Am I being reckless? Is this too ambitious? Not because you are, but because someone quietly planted that narrative in your mind. This isn't guidance, it's psychological. Tethering. Their power doesn't come from control. It comes from your need for approval. And that's what you must destroy. Approval is the leash. Doubt is the chain. Freedom begins when you stop asking for permission to be yourself. The passive controller thrives in your uncertainty. But here's the shift. When you stop explaining, when you stop hesitating, when you stop inviting opinions into your choices, they lose control. You become unpredictable. And to a controller, unpredictability is death. We saw how the passive controller tries to shrink you back into comfort zones. But now, when you step out of those zones, they say, you've changed, and yes, you have. You're no longer the version of yourself they could manipulate. You're no longer seeking their validation or bending to their comfort. You're evolving, whether it's loud or silent, and that threatens them, they'll try to pull you back into the cage with soft lines like, you're not the same anymore, you've become cold. But don't fear that. Celebrate it. It means you're growing. It means the cage is cracking. Here's what you must understand. You are not cruel for choosing clarity. You are not cold for protecting your mind. You are only dangerous to those who relied on your self-doubt to feel powerful. So stop letting subtle manipulation into sacred spaces. You don't need their comfort. You need your command back. And command, it doesn't whisper. It doesn't explain. It just moves. Comment this now. I move without permission. I cut the unseen strings. And I mean it. Watch closely. When their silence no longer shapes you, they squirm. When your decisions stop seeking their shadow, their influence fades. You weren't born to be managed. You were born to be untouchable. And untouchable begins where influence ends. Now, we arrive at number 5. The chronic victim. There's a difference between pain and identity. One you move through, the other you wear. The chronic victim chooses to wear it. They don't seek healing, they seek attention. Every room they enter must orbit around their suffering. Their hardship isn't a season, it's a brand. At first, you feel empathy. You listen. You validate. But eventually, you notice they never move forward. Every breakthrough becomes another breakdown. Progress is their enemy because without pain, they have no identity. And if they lose the story of their suffering, they lose the spotlight. But here's the cost. When you stay close to someone who refuses to rise, they begin pulling you back down. Not from malice, from fear. Your growth makes them feel abandoned. Your discipline makes them feel exposed. Your boundaries feel like insults. Because when someone builds a life around being broken, healing feels like betrayal. And that betrayal, they'll project it onto you. You'll hear it in the subtext. Oh, you think you're better than me now? We uncovered the truth. Pain is real, but staying in suffering is a choice. And many people make that choice every single day. They'll say things like, it must be nice to have it all figured out. I wish I could be strong like you. But be cautious. These aren't compliments. They're emotional traps, designed to make you feel guilty for growing. But here's the truth. You don't owe your light to those who've chosen to stay in shadow. Pain is real, but suffering is a daily decision. And you can't rise while carrying those who refuse to walk. You can't serve anyone if you're drowning with them. Detachment isn't cruelty, it's clarity. You are fully allowed to separate from people who romanticize victimhood. You are fully allowed to protect your momentum from those who see your growth as betrayal. Comment this now. I rise without guilt. I walk without weight. And walk, you must. Because the chronic victim doesn't want solutions. They want sympathy on demand. And when you stop supplying it, they'll call you cold. But here's the deeper truth. They don't miss your support. They miss your obedience. They miss the way your life paused for their pain. The way your energy bent to their story. The way your light dimmed just enough to make them feel safe. That's not compassion. That's control. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So step back, step up, step out. You are not here to be emotionally shackled. You are not here to be a constant witness to someone else's stagnation. You are here to evolve, and anything or anyone that chains you to the past must be released, with silence, with peace, with precision. Coming up, number 6, the entitled taker. Some people don't ask, they expect. The entitled taker doesn't say thank you, because in their mind, what you give them is simply what they deserve. They see your time as flexible, your energy as infinite, your boundaries as inconvenient. Worst of all, they don't even realize they're taking, because they've convinced themselves your worth exists to serve their needs. The moment you pause, they push. You say not today, they reply why. Not, you say I'm busy, they say it'll only take a second. In their world, you're never tired, never unavailable, never allowed to choose yourself. Because in their eyes, your worth isn't who you are, it's what you give. And when the giving stops, we expose the entitled taker, those who demand without asking and vanish when the giving stops. That's when the illusion of connection shatters. That's when you hear it. You've changed. You've become selfish. But what they call selfish is actually self-reclamation. You've finally begun to protect your time, your energy, your space. You've realized a powerful truth. Giving without limits doesn't make you noble. It makes you a resource. And people don't respect resources, they consume them. But you're not here to be consumed. You're here to build, to rise, to lead. And leaders don't endlessly pour into empty hands. The entitled taker fears boundaries because boundaries reveal the truth. The relationship wasn't about connection. It was about access. They didn't show up for you. They showed up for what you did. Pull back and watch how fast they vanish. And let them. You don't need to chase takers. You need to choose yourself. Comment this now. I am not a resource. I am the source. Let them call it ego. Let them call it cold. What they're really feeling is the absence of control. When access ends, entitlement collapses. And in that silence, they'll finally realize you were never weak. You were just generous. But now, generosity has a lock, and not everyone gets the key. You owe no one your depletion. You owe no one endless yeses. Your time is earned. Your presence is a privilege. And when they realize they can't take without limits, they'll move on to someone who hasn't awakened yet. Don't take it personally. See it as a filter. When the well runs dry, the takers remove themselves. So let them go. You are not here to be drained. You are here to become untouchable. And now, you're almost there. Next up, number 7. The shift. What happens when you start to detach? Something strange happens. The world doesn't cheer. It flinches. Because for the first time, you stop moving from guilt and start moving from clarity. You speak less, but your words cut deeper. You show up less, but your presence lands heavier. You begin to feel this quiet edge, a calm, aggression in how you walk, how you decide, how you let go. That is the shift. After the shift, you're no longer who you used to be. You no longer shrink to avoid confrontation. You begin to see patterns forming. You sense manipulation before it fully shapes. You feel emotional hooks midair and step aside before they land. That's not cold. That's clarity. You start to realize silence is not the absence of care. It's the presence of self-control. Your mind becomes lighter. Your boundaries sharper. Your peace untouchable. People will say, you've changed. And they're right. You've changed. You no longer react to every emotional prod. You no longer explain every shift. You just move. No noise, no need, no permission. And in that stillness, you discover a new strength, the ability to withhold your attention. Access becomes earned. You stop rescuing. You stop overgiving. You stop performing for people who wouldn't notice if you disappeared tomorrow. This is the moment you stop being accessible and start becoming unshakable. Comment this now. Silence is my strategy. Detachment is my edge. Repeat it until it carves into your presence. You're not distant. You're focused. Not cruel, just selective. Not unavailable, just no longer easy to use. And when that happens, everything changes. People can't guilt you into yes. They can't confuse you into submission. They can't drain you. because they can't reach you anymore. Your presence is now earned, your approval rare, your emotional energy locked. You're no longer someone they manage, you're someone they measure themselves against. And that is where real dominance begins, not in raising your voice, but in lowering your exposure. Let them feel your absence. Let them wonder what changed. Let them spin in their own chaos while you remain still, focused and untouchable. That is the real shift. Next up, number 8, reclaiming psychological power. You've begun mastering yourself. Now it's time to build the unshakable mind. Power isn't loud. Power is discipline disguised as stillness. The unshakable mind doesn't react, it observes. Where others rush to speak, you pause. Where others flinch, you hold. Not out of weakness, but out of control. You built the foundation of an unshakable mind. Now, you reach the core of psychological power. You stop needing to be understood. You choose to be undisturbed. That is psychological power, the ability to hold your own mind. Even when the world tries to bend it. No more begging for peace. You embody it. No more over-explaining to the unworthy. You cut with clarity. You are no longer shaped by praise, guilt, opinions, or noise. You've reclaimed your throne, and that throne is internal. Comment this now. My mind is mine. My peace is earned. My silence is power. Say it once. Say it when you feel tested. Say it until your nervous system obeys. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. You're not becoming someone else. You're becoming who you were before the world convinced you to shrink. One decision at a time, one silence at a time, one cut at a time. The unshakable mind doesn't shout, it strikes with precision. Now you're almost complete. Number 9, the final lock-in. Welcome to the void. This is the part where most people look back. They wonder, was I too harsh? Did I cut too deep? Am I becoming someone unrecognizable? Good. You should be unrecognizable to the version of you that tolerated being drained. That version is gone. What's left now is silence, and within that silence, something sharp, focus. Detachment isn't emptiness, it's purity. No excess, emotion, no mental clutter, just strategy, just stillness. You don't chase, you don't beg, you sit, you watch, you strike, if and when it's necessary. Let them call you cold. You're not here to be understood, you're here to be unshakable. The fewer things that own your mind, the more dangerous you become. You're not numb, you're in control. You don't seek approval, you move with presence, precision, and power. Comment this now. I hold nothing. Nothing holds me. Say it, and mean it. Let the takers circle. Let the manipulators talk. Let the noise stay behind. You because now you are in the void. Still, watching, waiting, ready to move when it matters. This is Stoicism Philosophy Daily. If this video resonated, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and always remember, power doesn't shout. Power withdraws, then returns with precision.